due to network issues, the city of Athens is off the grid. Good evening, I'm Parker Kapranica.
And I'm Jack Green. Welcome to Newswatch. Some departments are not able to receive outside calls. The city cited intermittent telecommunication network problems in the county. If you experience a problem, the city says to contact the Service Safety Office at 740-592-3340 to be forwarded to the correct location. It is unclear when the issue will be resolved. One of the co-owners of a closed robocall business is facing charges for defying a court order prohibiting him from placing or facilitating robocalls. Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost and 7 other state attorneys generals are asking a Texas federal judge to ban John Spiller II from the telecommunications industry. Spiller co-owned Rising Eagle Capital Group and several other business entities in Texas that provided dialer and voice-over internet protocol services to telemarketers. Spiller and his companies were responsible for facilitating billions of deceptive robocalls while knowing it was illegal.
As the total solar eclipse comes closer, schools are preparing special lessons for the April 8th event. Some schools in or near the path of totality are organizing viewing groups for students to learn about the astronomy behind the daytime darkness. But the timing of the eclipse around dismissal time means many schools, including the Athens City School District, will be closed so students aren't stuck on buses or Newswatch forecast.
Good evening. We had temperatures as high as 54 degrees with a low of 38 and partly sunny skies. Currently, we're a little bit lower than that at 53 with mostly cloudy skies, and that's due to the low pressure that's still sticking around before the high pressure really kicks it out. Over the past 24 hours, you can really see that this high pressure has started to move the precipitation that we saw over the past few days, and especially in the early parts of the week, out into the coast. So we will start to see a lot of warm temperatures coming our way with clear skies. Now, due to this high pressure, we are having a lot of dry air in the area, and our friends down in Parkersburg are having some fire weather warnings going up, so you really don't want to have an open burnout right now. Currently, you can see the high pressure really sitting up, that it's set up over the past few days. So we'll have a few days of clear skies before we really get into some precipitation later in the week that'll really affect our weekend. Tonight, we'll have an overnight low of 38 degrees with mostly clear skies, so if you want to go out for a walk, you'll be able to do so with minimal hats and clothes. Tomorrow, we'll see a temperature high of 63 degrees and a low of 44 with partly sunny skies. Looking into your weekend, we'll start on Friday with clouds coming up, but no precipitation, and on Saturday, we'll really start to see a front set up and it'll start to dump rain on us for the foreseeable future, and you should really plan your weekend and your upcoming week plans around this. As Saturday, we have a high of 67, which is really nice and comfortable, but we will have some rain in the forecast. And Sunday, you're really going to want to stay inside for whatever you have, as we'll have some thunderstorms in the air with a chance of severe weather. Stick around for my full forecast to find out more.
Thanks, Steve. AEP Ohio customers will see 2 increases in their electric bill, one starting next month and another this summer. In April, customers will see a $10 increase. This means for a customer using 1,000 kilowatts a month, their bill will jump from about $33 to about $43 a month. The move is to help cover transmission costs charged by regional grid operators. Then in June, the company is planning to raise prices once again, this time by 2%. This comes after state regulators approved the company's application to take higher net profits. AEP Ohio plans to use $2 billion for grid upgrades. A former Pike County Sheriff's deputy is sentenced to 100 months in federal prison for the beating of a jail inmate in 2019. 49-year-old Jeremy Mooney was convicted last year on 2 counts of violating a victim's constitutional rights. Mooney received his sentence from a federal judge in Columbus earlier today. 27-year-old Thomas Friend was strapped in a restraining chair when Mooney beat and pepper sprayed him for more than an hour. Mooney even punched Friend hard enough that he broke his own hand, which he later tried to claim workman's compensation for. Mooney filed an appeal in the case after he was sentenced.
An old greenhouse in Zanesville is coming back to life as the state attempts to get back into the tree business. Ohio lawmakers passed a bill establishing this tree seedling nursery earlier this year in order to meet the state's growing demand for trees. The state's last nursery shut down in 2008, but Ohioans have been buying seedlings from out of state. So this nursery will bring business back home. Many of those seedlings will be planted on reclaimed mine lands in our region, Coming up, new footage of the Baltimore Bridge collapse.
And your Easter candy may be more expensive this year.
We have lots of rain in the forecast. Find out exactly when and how much next.
Your timing is absolutely perfect.
Okay, my heart's beating through my chest.
It's a fresh start for all of us.
When mothers come to us, they bring everything they are with them.
It's what I love doing.
Now is our chance to be big. Do you think you can do it?
Watch me.
This is probably crazy.
If I could be with anyone in the world, it would be with you.
Sunday on WOUB.
Regardless of your stage of life, whether you're starting your first job, getting the keys to a new home, or enjoying retirement, it's never too early or too late to create an estate plan to care for loved ones and support the causes that are meaningful to you. WOUB Public Media is pleased to have partnered with Giving Dogs, a free resource for building an estate plan that fits your needs and protects the people and causes you care about. Visit WOUB.org and click the Support tab to get started today.
Times are changing.
Every nut and bolt, you know its breaking point, but the humans have not been quantified.
I'm here to serve, I'm here to learn, I'm here to grow, and so whatever happens, just remember that.
I was diagnosed with Parkinson's at 39.
You never know what's going to happen if you don't give up.
Holding it together is more exhausting than the disease itself.
You might live.
You have to hunt. If you don't do subsistence activities, you die.
It connects us to our past.
Investigators of the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapse in Baltimore are saying they have recovered the bodies of 2 of the 6 construction workers. Search efforts have been paused for the remaining 4 workers who are now presumed dead. New traffic cam video shows what happened moments before the collapse. The National Transportation Safety Board investigators have learned alarms went off 45 minutes after the ship left the terminal. The pilot then sent a mayday call to shut down traffic. Within 2 minutes of the call, the ship collided into the bridge column, causing it to collapse, and the 8 construction workers on top of that bridge column were not evacuated in time. With dozens of ships headed towards the port, the focus is now on rebuilding.
The collapse of the Key Bridge is a global crisis. The national economy and the world's economy depends on the port of Baltimore.
But extreme weather conditions are making recovery efforts for this disaster difficult. It's unclear how long a rebuild will take.
Speeding through airport security without any hiccups is a goal for most travelers, and a goal the Biden administration is working to safeguard, especially for people who are wary of new technology. Vice President Kamala Harris announced new mandates aimed at preventing government abuse of artificial intelligence with a big emphasis on stopping discrimination. Ivan Rodriguez has more on the protections and what they mean for TSA screenings.
Don't feel comfortable using the facial recognition technology at airports? No problem. That's the message from the Biden administration as it rolls out new safeguards to protect Americans from government abuse of artificial intelligence.
When it comes to anything regarding personal data, there is definite worry that that information is being used elsewhere.
Under the requirements, which take effect December 1st, travelers should be able to refuse facial recognition scans at airport security without worrying they'll be delayed or lose their place in line.
There is going to be a good portion of people that are breathing a sigh of relief, knowing that they don't have to opt in to anything regarding personal data when it comes to their travel experience.
Some travelers seem unconcerned. and say AI is already the norm.
We're already using it for our phones consistently. I mean, just about everybody's doing it.
But there's evidence that using AI tools like facial recognition can lead to discrimination, something the Biden administration is also working to prevent in government agencies.
There have been numerous studies that demonstrate that facial recognition is less accurate with the faces of people of color.
The new mandates are designed to cover a range of scenarios, from TSA screenings at airports to decisions by other agencies, which affect Americans' health care, employment, and housing.
I think the real problem here for safety advocates who are concerned about the use of technology is that there are some areas where a lot of experts feel it's not appropriate to use artificial intelligence at all.
In Atlanta, I'm Ivan Rodriguez.
For one minor league baseball team, snow may be the reason their season runs into a delay. There's more than a foot of snow covering the bases of the CHS field in Minnesota, and the St. Paul Saints are worried they might have to push back their home opener this Saturday against the Columbus Clippers for a second time. Last year, they struck out on their first 2 attempts of a home opener because of the same reason. Now, Steve, I know the Guardians should be safe on their road trip out west, but hopefully the Clippers don't get pushed back too far.
Yeah, hopefully not. I know certainly over here we are definitely clear from any snow as we have really warm temperatures, especially for this time of year. So no snow in our forecast. So when the Guardians come back to town, we'll definitely be able to play our games right away. So.
Sure. Yeah.
Today we had temperatures as high as 54 with a low of 38 and mostly sunny skies. Currently, we have temperatures sitting at 53 degrees with a current conditions, of mostly cloudy skies. Now, these mostly cloudy skies are going to clear out as we have a lot of high pressure sitting in our area that has affected us over the past 24 to 48 hours, but that won't last too long as we have a front coming in behind it. But it did a great job of pushing out that precipitation that we saw throughout the last few days. Now, due to that high pressure and that sun we got today, we had very dry conditions, and that gave us a lot of fire weather warnings down with our friends in Parkersburg, but it hasn't affected us as much. You can really see how the temperature has gone above normal for especially this time of year, really starting to feel like spring, especially down in the south. But here we have temperatures in the 50s, and into tonight we'll have temperatures as high as low as 38 degrees with mostly cloudy skies. Tomorrow, much warmer with partly sunny skies and a high of 63. And now a low of 44 will be due to the clouds that stick around, overnight and won't allow it to get too cold. Tomorrow, again, we'll see that high pressure really still stick around, so we'll have a pleasant Friday, but you can see that low pressure system really start to set up shop, and it really won't be going anywhere as we have cold air and warm air meeting over Ohio. Tomorrow night, that high pressure still begins to move out, but it still has a few lasting effects. Saturday is where we start to see a little bit of action as we see the low pressure really start to kick around, and we have a lot of precipitation sitting over Ohio, but mostly over the lake. So it won't mess with us too much over the next few days, but we will start to see it as we head into Sunday and maybe Monday. Saturday, again, if you look, this low pressure system really is sticking around for the long haul as it's set up through most of Central America. Into the weekend, we'll see on Friday, partly sunny skies, which again, very pleasant. So if you want to get any of your activities done for the weekend, Friday is definitely your day to do it. On Saturday, we'll have showers, so if you have anything to do, you definitely want to get it done earlier rather than later, as those showers will really start to set up. And on Sunday, it will probably most likely be a wash, as we have a chance of thunderstorms in the area, so really nothing pleasant will be outside. Looking into our next 7 days, on Monday, we have those showers sticking around as that front really starts to set up and dump a lot of precipitation on us. Tuesday is much of the same, and you can really start to see warmer weather in our forecast as opposed to what we've seen the past week or two, with a high of 71 on Monday and a high of 66 on Tuesday. Those clouds begin to move out a little bit on Wednesday, but there's still some chance of rain as we have a high of 57 and a low of 34. On Thursday, we'll really start to see that low pressure system really move out, as we'll have highs in 53 and a low of 31.
Thanks, Steve. Well, the weather may be the reason the Easter Bunny can escape inflation this year. Experts point to adverse weather conditions and crop disease in West Africa, where 70% of the world's cocoa is produced. Chocolate prices are surging, and experts say it's only expected to get worse. Retail chocolate prices rose over 11% in 2023, and cocoa futures are up 250% from last March. To combat rising costs and dwindling supply, many candy companies are promoting other options to fill out Easter baskets. The price of eggs is also high, with a 47-cent rise between January and February. President Joe Biden's re-election campaign could get a big boost tonight when he's joined in New York by former Presidents Barack Obama and Bill Clinton. The lucrative fundraiser reflects the high-powered help Biden is receiving in his bid to beat former President Donald Trump. It marks their first joint appearance on behalf of Biden this campaign cycle. The three Democrats are sitting down at Radio City Music Hall for a rare conversation moderated by Stephen Colbert. This comes after aides confirmed Obama will make several campaign appearances before November, hoping to prevent another Trump term.
Just the average American, but obviously the Latinos, the young people, the minorities that are going to be critical to Joe Biden if he's going to win this election.
Tickets for tonight's event range from $225 to $500,000. Biden's re-election campaign announced this evening's event has raised more than $25 million. Biden ended February with $71 million in his principal campaign account. That's more than twice the $33.5 held by the Trump campaign.
To stop it. We have to stop it. We have to get back to law and order. We have to do a lot of things differently because this is not working. This is happening too often.
Meanwhile, former President Donald Trump joins a gathering to honor a New York City police officer shot and killed. On Monday, Diller responded to a vehicle illegally parked at a bus stop. The passenger in the car allegedly shot at officers, hitting Diller. That suspect was also injured when Diller's partner returned fire. Flags across New York will be lowered to half-staff for his funeral on Saturday.
Regular physical activity can help strengthen your brain, strengthen your bones and muscles while boosting energy. But it's still important to prepare your body for exercise. Mandy Gaither explains how remembering the acronym SWISH can help prevent injuries.
It's spring, and if you're exercising more to be healthier or to prepare for swimsuit season, make sure your body is ready.
It's important to prepare to provide yourself the best chance at not getting injured.
Dr. Tracy Nogle with Orlando Health says not preparing can lead to injuries like ankle or ligament sprains, muscle or tendon strains.
If you're not strength training and stuff like that around your joints, you can have shoulder injuries or knee injuries such as like an ACL. And then getting in stretching and stuff like that to prevent injuries to the calves and the Achilles is all very important.
To help you remember to prevent injuries, Nogle says to use the acronym SWISH. S stands for stretching. Do this before and after activity. W is for wearing the proper equipment, such as supportive shoes, and if you need them, ankle or knee braces. I, ignoring an injury is a bad idea. Nogle says not to tough it out, instead see a doctor.
Getting a doctor's approval to push through some of those pains, I think, is important in determining whether or not it is something that can turn into something worse down the road if you keep playing.
The second S is for strength training. Keeping muscles strong can help your body avoid strains or tears. Finally, H is for hydrate.
Drinking before and after activity is very important to keep healthy in those muscles in all of your body.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Coming up in sports, Ohio Volleyball releases their conference schedule. And for the latest from Newswatch, follow us on Instagram, X formerly Twitter, and YouTube.
For more than 70 years, WOUB Public Media has been the place where people in our region turn to learn how stories of the past ignite the imagination of the future. It's where information, entertainment, and education work together to inform, enlighten, and inspire generations. It's the place where the community gathers to hear and see our world in new and innovative ways. WOUB, the public media you trust that's worthy of your support.
22-year-old Jack Teixeira pled guilty to all 6 counts he faces.
talking to Jack's friends. The internet was a huge part of his life.
We spoke about conspiracies and how we distrusted government.
Should the military vetting process have caught all of these aspects of his personality?
The vetting system is pretty robust, but it's not perfect. There were countless missed opportunities, and as a result, we have one of the worst leak cases in modern times.
Tuesday at 10 on WOUB.
Politics is an argument about the future.
Daniel Patrick Moynihan was a diplomat, a politician, and a U.S. senator whose influence over the 20th century is still felt today.
Things are not getting better for everybody.
The war on poverty was planned over as spaghetti dinners at the Moynihans.
Equality and liberty are two different things.
See him in action when Moynihan comes to American Masters.
Friday at 9 on WOUB.
There's nothing like it.
It's a crossroads moment for humanity.
It's really exciting to watch.
Yeah, don't miss it.
When you see a total solar eclipse, you are seeing the hottest thing you will ever see with the human eye.
If we really want to move forward, we have to be curious about what those different futures could look like.
The scale of what we see here is unparalleled in the world.
Wednesday on WOUB.
Welcome back. I'm Maddie Kiefer with sports. Ohio Volleyball has officially released their 2024 conference schedule. This schedule will include 18 games, 9 home and 9 away. The Bobcats will start their season with a doubleheader against the Zips in Akron. Another important game to look out for is the Battle of the Bricks against Ohio rival Miami on October 19th. Rounding out their schedule, the Bobcats will play again in 2 games against the Falcons in Bowling Green. Moving over to the court, Ohio basketball announced that Vic Searles, a graduate student, will be coming to play for the Bobcats next year. Searles, a 6'9" center and Ohio native, is transferring from Ashland University, where he was a 2-time All-Great Midwest Athletic Conference second-team selection. In his 4 years with the Eagles, he started 51 games and averaged 10.1 points and 4.6 rebounds. Searles will add height to the smaller Bobcat squad. In the MLB, it's opening day, but in Muncie, Indiana, the Bobcats and Cardinals just wrapped up their game. Ohio came into this game 5-4 in the MAC, wanting to get back to that 500 mark. This game started off slow until the Bobcats scored 2 runs in the 4th, although the Cardinals did not quit as Clay Jacobs homered to right center. Ball State tied up the game in the 6th, but Ohio put their foot on the gas and scored 2 runs in both the 7th and the 8th innings. This allowed the Bobcats to hold a dominant 6-2 lead. It looked bleak for the Cardinals, but the 8th inning was theirs after errors and walks left too many players on base, allowing 5 runs to score. Ball State took a 7-6 lead. Unfortunately, Ohio could not score a run to tie it in the 9th, and Ball State completed the 7-6 comeback. The Ohio softball team's schedule for this weekend originally had a single game scheduled on Friday and a doubleheader on Saturday against Central Michigan. Now, due to a high chance of rain, those games have been switched, with the doubleheader on Friday and single game on Saturday. The Bobcats coming into this game are 13-7 with a 1-5 record in MAC play, and the Chippewas are 5-19 with a conference record of 2-1. These games come off 3 straight losses against rival Miami. Sophomore infield Shelby Wessler talks about how the team will bounce back against a conference foe.
Definitely think flushing away the mistakes and moving on is going to be our best bet, and I think we're pretty good at that. So we've started off with 2 really tough conference teams, and we play a tough conference team this weekend. We've definitely shown a lot of improvement recently in our play, even though we didn't necessarily get the results we wanted.
That's all for sports. Back to the desk.
Thanks, Maddie. Still ahead, why this eclipse means even more for one Texas man. But first, here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
There was only 2 type of jobs for black women, and I had no desire to be either one.
Growing up in the 50s, you could be a nurse, you could be a teacher, you could be a housewife. But those seemed to be sort of the limits of women.
I would be in a room with all men, and I got used to it. After a while, it doesn't matter.
It's pretty hard to carry your case
unless you're pretty outspoken and pretty stubborn.
I never, ever thought that someday I would be in Congress. No one in our family had ever gone to college or finished high school.
Girls just weren't seen as legacies. So at the end of the day, when he looked around, there was nobody left but me.
My husband's comment to me was, good grief, you're spending every day down there anyway. Why don't you run for mayor? It had nothing to do with being a woman. It was, I knew I could do the job.
Tonight at 9.
The story of Caesar, most extraordinary political story in Western history.
Julius Caesar is the most dangerous kind of demagogue.
He's immoral, he's irreligious, he wants to rule Rome.
Step by step, Caesar is being corrupted by this power he's got.
Democracy has to be fought for. If we take it for granted, a new Caesar will come.
Tuesday at 9 on WOUB.
If you don't drive it, donate it and support something you use every day.
You've seen eclipses since 1963 was your first one, and your last one was last year.
Last year, right here in Fort Worth. I've seen 12 eclipses. We've traveled all over the world to see them. Well, I was lucky I had money back in those days.
For 105-year-old Laverne Beiser, this eclipse has a very special meaning. The Fort Worth resident has been chasing eclipses since the early 1960s, and this would be his 13th. Beiser's obsession with the cosmos began as a high school student right here in Ohio. From there, he'd go on to graduate in mechanical engineering from the Ohio State University in 1942. He moved to Fort Worth after helping design airplanes at Carswell Air Force Base. But it's the thrill of eclipse watching he says is one of his greatest passions. Now, just watching 13 of those, I mean, what? We've only had one in the past, our lifetimes. I mean, that's pretty crazy. I mean, 13.
13, yeah. I'm really excited. This is really going to be the first one that I've really paid attention to. Headed up to Cleveland to catch a great view of it.
You're from Lorraine, so it is right there in the path of totality. And I mean, sports, the Guardians even canceled or postponed their opening game.
It's amazing, and it's going to be really great.
Everyone's got eclipse fever, so what's the weather? I know we're far out, but at least what's the weather for tonight? Could you tell us that?
For tonight, it'll be a pretty nice night with a few clouds in the area, so if it was tonight, you really wouldn't be able to see it. We'll have an overnight low of 38 degrees, so if you want to go for a walk, tonight would definitely be the night to do it. Looking into tomorrow, we'll have a really pleasant day with partly sunny skies and a high of 63, and that overnight low of 44 will be a little bit higher due to the clouds in the area. As you can see, tomorrow we have that high pressure really sticking around and dominating still, so we'll really have clear skies, which is going to add to tomorrow being extremely pleasant. As for Saturday, we have a low pressure system move into the area and really bring with it a lot of clouds and precipitation, so this weekend really might be a wash in terms of outside activities. If you look into the beginning of next week, it's really still the same as Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday all have a lot of precipitation in the forecast, but above average temperatures for the first few days, so pretty nice weather aside from the rain.
All right, thanks, Steve. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. For Steve Nedlick and Maddie Kiefer, I'm Parker Kapranica.
And I'm Jack Green. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next. And remember, you can find the latest news anytime at WOUB.org or follow us on social media. Have a great night.